Hello, everyone. This is Debra Poneman, and I'd like to welcome you to our call with today's guest, Noah St. John. Noah is recognized worldwide as the Abundant Lifestyle Authority. He's the inventor of Afformations. He's a best-selling author. He's also the creator of the Inner Game of Success training programs. More than 250,000 people in over 50 countries around the world have experienced Noah's breakthrough training methods, and his books have been translated into 12 languages worldwide. He's been featured in over 2,000 media outlets, including CNN, ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox, NPR, Parade, Women's Day, Washington Post, and the Huffington Post, just to name a few. And a few of the other powerful things he's going to share with us today include a step-by-step process to manifest and create a life full of abundant health, wealth, and happiness, the number one secret you need to know to master your inner game of success, a proven 4-step formula that guarantees you'll reach your goals faster, 5 simple words that will unmask your hidden barriers to abundance. And this, by the way, is key to removing the resistance and gaining momentum. And this is one of my favorites, why AL equals MT plus ME plus TRR plus MM is the most important equation in your life. And as I said earlier, he is also going to share how we can make more money by doing less. He says that most people are stepping right over their biggest opportunities. So Noah, thank you for joining us today. Welcome to the call.
Thank you very much, Debra. I'm excited to be here with you.
Well, you know that I am excited, and I would love for you to tell people just a little bit about your journey and how you came up with this really magnificent body of knowledge that has impacted so many lives. Were you actually born with this kind of vision? Because some people have it at a young age and some people get it later. Tell us about you.
Absolutely. Well, let me just give you a very brief overview of who I am and what I do, and I'll just tell you a little story about how I got here. Basically, and again, thank you for inviting me on the show today. I'm really excited to share this method and this system and this formula with everybody listening today. So, by the way, I hope everyone listening make sure you get out a pen and paper or something to take notes with, because I'm definitely going to be sharing with you actionable items that you can do immediately in your life, in your business, that really are going to make a big difference and have made a big difference, as you mentioned, Debra, for thousands, many thousands of people around the world. So who I am, what I do, basically I help business owners dump their head trash around money so they spend less time working and still make a lot more money. Now, what does head trash mean? Well, head trash is exactly what it sounds like. It's that stuff in your head that's getting in your own way. Okay, so we'll be talking a lot about head trash today, in the time we have together. But basically, I wanted to let you know that we'll be talking about some stuff that's kind of out there, but really it's worth it if you stick with us and stick with us for, this conversation. I know it's going to make a big difference in your life. It's kind of like building new muscles, new success muscles. And, at first it might feel a little like you got to stretch yourself, and you probably do. We all do. But it's really worth it. And, we'll talk about some of the success stories and case studies in a little bit here. But what I want to share with you is that, what makes this program different, what I'm going to be telling you about today, and the strategies and the methods that I'll be sharing with you today, what makes this different from things that you've heard before, it's not about working harder. It's not about sacrificing your family or your free time. In fact, very, very often for many of my clients, they find that they start making a lot more money and having a lot more free time, which is pretty cool. And it's definitely not about sacrificing your values or your principles. What it is about living a more abundant lifestyle. And, today we may bust some what I call success myths, some real, some long-held myths along the way. And I think that's actually good. because some of these myths really need to go by the wayside. So really, whether you and I ever work together, for everyone listening, or you choose to do this on your own, I think that there's 3 things that you must have in place, whether we work together or not. And the first thing is you must actually be able to help people. And I know the people listening to this call, the people on this series, are really heart-centered people. They're heart-centered entrepreneurs. But what I want to make it clear is I'm not talking about get rich quick. I'm not talking about fake businesses. I'm not talking about sitting around and thinking about money and then it just falls in from the sky. It doesn't work that way. We know that, and I know everybody listening knows that, but I just want to say that because we got to get that out of the way right up front. The second thing you must have is you must be willing to push through your comfort zone. You must be willing to push through what's comfortable for you or what's familiar, because by definition, if what you want is to be more successful, that's going to feel a little uncomfortable at first. It's going to feel like you're taking a leap off of a cliff, or you're just making that, and I don't know what the next step is, but I want to guarantee you that the next step is really solid, even though you may not be able to see it right now. It's kind of like that Indiana Jones movie where he stepped off and he wasn't sure, but it is right there. And the third thing, and this is so important, Debra, and for everyone listening, is that you've got to commit to never let your self-doubt stop you from having what you really want. We all have times of self-doubt. We all have times where I don't know what the next step is. We have that fear, that self-doubt, that head trash, I call it. But I want to make sure, whether you and I ever work together, I hope we get to, sometime, or you do this on your own, I hope you never let your self-doubt stop you from having what you really want, because, that would just be a shame, and you don't need to let that happen. So, Debra, how I got started in all this, just very briefly, I definitely did not grow up in a family that had money. My family was poor middle class, lower middle class. I grew up in a little town called Kennebunkport, Maine. I remember, just to give you an idea about how I grew up, I remember one day I was about 9 or 10 years old, and I went up to my mother and I said, Mom, how come you and Dad are always arguing about money? How come all we ever eat is macaroni and cheese? Why don't we have the things that other kids have? And, I wasn't trying to be mean about it. My parents argued all the time about money. And I just, like kids do, they ask questions innocently. And I just said, why are you doing that? Why is this happening? And she said, well, your father doesn't bring in enough money, because she was a stay-at-home mom and, took care of us kids. I have a brother and a sister, so there are 3 of us. And said, your father doesn't bring home enough money at the end of the month for all the expenses. And I said, why? Why not? Why doesn't he? Again, I'm a kid. I don't know. And she said, well, and I don't think she really knew how to answer the question. So what she did was she sat down and actually showed me the books, the checkbook, the family checkbook, and showed me that, here's the money that's coming in, and here's all the expenses. And sure enough, there wasn't enough money. And, it was. So what happened was 2 things happened when that situation occurred. The first decision, I guess you could call it, is I made a decision to not want things. I made a decision that I wasn't going to be a burden to my parents, because, no kid wants to be a burden to their parents. And I'm sure that wasn't my mother's intention. I'm sure that wasn't what she intended to happen, but that's what happened. So I just said, I'm not going to want anything. I'm not going to ask for anything, because, I don't want to be a burden. The second thing that happened, or decision that I made, is that I decided I wanted to make something different for my life. I didn't like the fact that my parents argued about money all the time. I didn't like the fact that all we ate was macaroni and cheese. It was very aggravating and annoying and kind of scary too. And I said, I'm going to make something of my life. Now, Debra, I'm sure you've heard of that book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. You know that book?
Absolutely.
Well, I only had a poor dad. So all I had was the library. That's what I had. And so I went to the library to basically read books on personal growth and self-help. I didn't know any of these terms really. But, as I was growing up and all those years, after that, I just went to the library, started studying, reading books on personal growth, self-help, success, from all the classics that we know and love, Napoleon Hill, Dale Carnegie, Stephen Covey, Deepak Chopra, all of the traditional success programs and literature that's out there. Well, after many, many years, I'm just going to fast forward a little bit. So after many, many years, I started my own business in 1997 after having two epiphanies in 1997 that changed my life, which I'll be talking about in just a little bit. And I realized that I had a mission that I wanted to get out to people. Just people around the world. But I didn't have any idea how to do that. I had this vision and this mission and a real drive to do it, but I didn't know how to do it. I trusted a lot of the wrong people. I made a lot of very poor decisions. I made decisions coming from fear and coming from not enough. So in 2007, after being in business for 10 years, I found myself buried in about $40,000 of credit card debt. I actually had to move back into my parents' house and start working out of their basement. And I had no clue how to get out of that fear and the self-doubt that I was facing. So it was very scary. It was very humiliating. And I felt just this shame and guilt and anger and frustration. And I really didn't have any idea how to get out of it. But what I realized is that there are things that I knew how to do, but I wasn't doing them. I wasn't doing them because of fear. I wasn't doing them because I was asking the wrong questions, because I wasn't doing the things that I knew how to do, and I was just too scared to do them. Well, bottom line, I started doing these things. I made a decision then, and I said, okay, if I created this lousy situation, that means I can create something better. So 24 months later, in a span of 24 months from that time in 2007, I actually ended up with a six-figure book deal from one of the world's largest publishers. I became a best-selling author. I found myself on stage speaking in places like Australia, Las Vegas, Palm Springs, Florida, all across the United States and Canada. And like I mentioned, Australia, which is an amazing place to visit and go and speak, and just the great people. Someplace I always dreamed of going, and I never thought I'd ever be there. And there I was speaking. Then I met and married this awesome, amazing, beautiful woman named Babette, and I paid cash for our Caribbean honeymoon. My books actually started coming out in all these different languages. They're in, as you mentioned, about 12 languages around the world. And then I also started meeting all these really famous people, celebrities. People like Joe Sugarman, who is the founder of Blue Blocker Sunglasses, the guy who basically invented the infomercial. He's literally a legend. I got to spend time with him at his private estate in Maui. Joe Vitale from The Secret, Harvey McKay, who wrote Swim with the Sharks Without Being Eaten Alive. Jack Canfield actually wrote the foreword for one of my books, and it just goes on and on and on. So all of that happened. So literally I went from basement to bestseller in 24 months using the formula that I'll be sharing with you.
Well, that makes us very hungry to find out what this formula is.
Yeah.
I know so many people, they're stuck. They're stuck in their lives. They're stuck in their businesses. They're in the, virtual basement. So lay it on us. How do we get out of the basement?
Absolutely. So you're absolutely right. And so many, you're right, business owners and people feel stuck, entrepreneurs and people who want to be entrepreneurs. And I know a lot of folks are listening in that situation. And really, basically what it comes down to, Debra, is most business owners and people are working too hard for not enough money. So let me just give you some third-party data to back up what I'm saying here. There was a recent survey done by an organization called TD Bank, and they found that 60% of entrepreneurs are encountering increased stress in their lives and their business. Now, some of the main culprits are money worries, managing employees, sales and marketing, customer and client relations, working long hours, and things like that. Also, I was just reading USA Today the other day, and there was a survey, and it found that 63% of all employees are encountering increased burnout. So that also, burnout is on the rise, with all the economic challenges and people being downsized, et cetera. And even the people who have a job are feeling more stress, more pressure. So that's up. Now, unfortunately, it gets worse because I've done a lot of research on this because so many people and clients, coaching clients, mastermind clients have come to me and they say, I want to get unstuck now. How do I get unstuck? So I've done a lot of research on this. Well, according to the U.S. Department of Commerce, the U.S. Census, and the Bureau of Labor Statistics, 30% of small businesses close after just 2 years. So just 2 years, and that's a third, are already wiped out. Now, half of small businesses make it 5 years, and 2/3 close after just 10 years. So the point is, fewer than 3 out of 10 small businesses, survive 15 years or more. So if you've been in business for 15 years, give yourself a hand, pat yourself on the back, and say, I made it. Phew, But, if you've started different businesses or if you want to start a business, I'm giving you these sobering statistics not to depress you, but to show you that this is a very real problem out there. And that means, bottom line is, you can be working really hard and still be stuck, and unfortunately, even go out of business and give up on your dreams. That's what I don't want to happen to anyone on this call, anyone listening to this program. So Debra, let me paint you a picture here about what I teach my clients, my $10,000 coaching clients, okay? And that is, my argument is that what we want, our true goal as entrepreneurs or heart-centered people who want to make a difference, our true goal is what I call an abundant lifestyle, okay? An abundant lifestyle. Now, what does that really mean? Well, I want to break this down and be very specific here, so we're not just talking airy-fairy and up in the sky somewhere. This is very real stuff, and I want to make that clear to everybody. So the word abundant means having more than enough. Having more than enough. That's what abundant really means. Now, lifestyle means doing the things that you want to do when you want to do them most of the time. Now, I say most of the time because, of course, there are always times and things that we have to do, things that we don't necessarily really want to do. But my point is that most people are doing things they hate most of the time. Doing and working a job they hate or with people they don't like, or et cetera, et cetera. So I'm saying the reverse of that is an abundant lifestyle, having more than enough, doing the things you want to do when you want to do them most of the time. So really it boils down to choice and freedom. So if we look at what an abundant lifestyle really is, it is to have the freedom to choose how you spend your time, your energy, and your money. Now, I can paint a very specific picture here, and I actually want to give you that equation you talked about at the very beginning, that really
yes,
cool.
I remember it well.
I'm going to give it to you right now. I'm going to give it to you right now, okay? Now, when I'm doing my live seminars, I have a picture, but I can actually draw this. It's pretty easy, actually, for you guys to get this. So what I want you to do is write the letters AL on your paper. Write AL. So AL stands for, well, actually, let me give you the whole equation, and then we'll fill it in, because that's actually makes sense. So AL, and then equals. All right, AL equals MT, where's MT, ME plus ME plus TRR plus MM. Okay. No, I know that was a lot of letters. So let me just break it down real quick for you. Okay. Now, so AL stands for abundant lifestyle. Abundant lifestyle. That's what we want. That's what I just talked about. Now, what creates an abundant lifestyle is 4 elements, 4 components, and that is more time plus more energy plus the right relationships, that's TRR, the right relationships plus more money. Okay? So there are 4 components or elements of an abundant lifestyle, and they are time, energy, relationships, and money. That's the easy way to remember it. Where all 4 of those come together, you have an abundant lifestyle. Now, here's the easy way, and I mean, you guys, you can do this right now. It'll take you about 10 seconds, and there's a really cool trick and a really awesome exercise that I give my high-paying coaching clients. I'm going to give this exercise to you right now. So I want you to take those 4 elements, those 4 areas, time, energy, relationships, and money. What I want you to do is rate yourself on a scale from 1 to 10 in each area. And here's what I mean by that. All right, so let's take time, right? Because that's a huge area where people feel stuck, right? I have too much to do and too little time, right? How many times a day do you hear yourself saying that or catch yourself? So here's what I want you to do. I want you to rate yourself from 1 to 10 on your abundance level in the area of time. 1 meaning I'm totally stressed. I got no time. I got a million things to do and no time to do them. And 10 means I've got all the time I want. Okay, so now the easy way to look at this, Debra, is to say how many times a day do you catch yourself saying, I'd love to blank, but I don't have the time. I'd love to, but I don't have the time, right? How many times a day do you catch yourself saying that? If it's a lot, then you're probably stuck in the area of time. And you can do the same thing, rate yourself 1 to 10 in the rest of the areas. Energy, how many times a day do you catch yourself saying, I'd love to blank, but I don't have the energy. I'd love to go work out. I'd love to, meet more people. I'd love to grow my business. I'd love whatever it is, but I don't have the energy. Okay? That's the second area, energy. You got time and energy. The third area or component is relationships. So how many times a day do you catch yourself saying, I'd love to blank, but I don't know the right people. I don't have the right relationships. And now, for those of you who are entrepreneurs, remember there's two types of relationships in business. You have your internal relationships and your external relationships. Now, the internal ones are your team, your employees, or contractors, or people that you hire. It could be temporary workers, they could be contractors, or they can be employees. So how many times a day do you say, gosh, I wish I could grow my business, wish I could get more customers, but I don't have the right team in place. I don't have the right people. That's a huge problem. That will keep you stuck. And the second area of relationships is the outer relationships. Customers. How many customers? I'd love to have more money. I'd love to grow my business, but I don't have enough customers. Okay, that's also a problem. You see how those relationships are very intertwined, very related. And finally, money. How many times a day do you catch yourself saying, I'd love to blank, but I don't have the money? I'd love to go on more vacations. I'd love to take more time off. See how these are all related? They all feed off one another. So you can't separate them. We can look at them distinctly, and of course they all relate to one another. See, money feeds into time, time feeds into energy, energy feeds into relationships, and they all feed into money. Make sense?
This makes absolute sense. And even if you don't say it in the same words that you use, like how many times a day do you say, I am so tired, or I'm so wiped out?
Exactly. There you go. That's exactly right. Right. I'm drained. I'm burned out. Exactly. And that leads to the problems, associated with being stuck. There are some very big problems associated with being stuck. So for example, one of them, a huge one, is sabotaging your own ability to make more money. You're literally sabotaging your own ability to make more money. Again, I know you're not doing this on purpose, but that's why so many people are writing me and saying, Noah, can you help me get unstuck? Also missed opportunities, leaving lots of money on the table. You're not doing it on purpose, but there's so many missed opportunities. Like, that's why I shared with you my story, of how I was struggling, because this is exactly what I was going through, unknowingly, unwittingly. But see, it's always what you don't know that trips you up. It's that you don't know that you don't know. And that's where I was. And that's why I'm trying to, again, I hope that I'm helping people just to become aware. Okay. Another big problem is health challenges, marital and family issues, or just, stress. What that does to your body. A huge toll on that. Being on that emotional roller coaster is a huge problem. You're up, you're down, you're up, you're down, you're up, you're down. And, you take it out on your family a lot of the time. You come home and you yell at your spouse, or you kick the dog, or, things that you don't want to do, but it's just boiling over. Or you're retreating into a shell. That's the other way. Either you're exploding or you're imploding. Exploding means anger and frustration. Imploding means feeling that guilt, that shame, that self-doubt that I was talking about earlier. Another big problem is risk losing your business. That 3 out of 10, that number that I gave you, less than 26% of businesses, small businesses, survive 15 years. There's no reason that we have to succumb to that, but if we don't know, we don't know. And finally, I think, Debra, the biggest problem associated with being stuck is people giving up on their dreams. That's what I would just hate to see. I would hate to see people give up on their dreams, because I know people listening are heart-centered. They truly want to make a difference. They want to help people. And I want you to remember, it's okay to make money. It's okay to be successful as you're making a difference. It's okay to make money and make a difference at the same time. Don't fool yourself into thinking well, I'm better because I don't have money. People who have money aren't as good or as spiritual as me. That's head trash. I don't want you to listen to that anymore. It's an easy out. It's an easy excuse. Oh, that's okay. I'm a better person. Listen, I've not had money most of my life. Now, I grew up with no money. And there's not anything good about it. There's nothing good. There's nothing spiritual. There's nothing evolved about not having money. Now, the problem happens, and this is so important for people to realize, the problem happens is when we put money before people. When we put money before people, you're right. You're going to make some poor decisions. That's what I did. I made a lot of really poor decisions because I put money before people. Once I realized what I was doing, that I was wrong. And I changed. And I said, wait a minute. It's people first, then money. And it's okay to have lots of both. And in fact, I would argue that makes you a better person. It makes you a better person when you can make a bigger difference in the world. And you can open up Forbes magazine and see, people who lied and cheat and steal. And you can open up the same magazine, see people who are doing amazing philanthropic things, giving away most of their money to help humanity, to raise the consciousness of the earth. So it all depends on what you focus on.
Yeah, and I guess one of the benefits of getting unstuck is that being able to be philanthropic. And, we see suffering in the world and we feel helpless, and then we put down the rich people. And if we could be one of them, then we don't have to just sit around complaining about all of the horrible things happening. We can go do something about it.
Absolutely. That's one of the big benefits. Another one is unlimiting yourself and your business. I love to talk about unlimiting yourself. We have these self-imposed barriers in ourselves. Not that we mean to do it, but it's happening nonetheless. You really get to get off that financial roller coaster when you follow the formula. You get to remove that resistance and gain momentum. Jim Collins, one of my favorite authors, talks about turning the flywheel. At the beginning, turning that flywheel is really hard. Just to move it one turn takes an enormous amount of effort. But then you start to gain momentum, and then you use the same amount of effort, you get 2 turns, then 4, then 8, then 16, 32, 64, and then soon that thing is going by itself, and you're like, wow, this is so fun. I could actually take more time off and still make more money than I was before. That's what so many of my clients experience. So it really comes down to doing all of that and making a lot more while doing less. And that gives you that ability to make a bigger difference for yourself, for your family, and for the world.
That's fantastic. And I love that image of the flywheel, because you said when you were down in the basement at your parents' home, there are things you knew how to do, but you weren't doing them out of fear, and you just went out of your comfort zone, and which was hard, like that first turn of the flywheel. But the image is once you start doing them, then the flywheel goes by itself.
Well, it does. It's certainly not saying you can do nothing and just sit there, but it certainly gets a lot easier. And, I have, just to give you a quick example of that, I remember one of our clients, his name is Sheila. She lives out in California, and she came to us. She was really stuck, and she was very frustrated. She spent about $30,000 on all these different self-help programs, but she was making about $5,000 a month in sales. And she's in a direct selling company, so about $5,000 a month in group sales, for her group. And she said, I'm working really, really hard. I know I can do so much more. And I see people up on stage, and I know I'm just as good as them. I work harder than them, and I want to be up on that stage. And so, anyway, she got the program. She started following it. She, did the work. She followed the steps. She followed the formula. Long story short, 6 months later, Sheila called me, and she said, Noah, we just did $75,000 this month. From $5,000 to $75,000 a month. And she said, no, I guess what the best part is? I'm actually working less to make $75,000 than I was when I was making $5,000. So, It's just awesome.
Well, I know, I usually wait till the end to talk about the offer, but I have so many more questions, but I just want to ask you about your offer. If we can pause for a second, tell us about it. And then after that, I want to find out what is the difference between an affirmation and affirmation, so many more things, but tell us about your offer. Do you mind doing it now?
No, let's do it.
To access this package for yourself, just click on the special offer button you'll find on the web page.
Okay, so when you get to that page, you'll see that what we have here, Deborah, frankly, we've got an amazing offer for everybody here, and that is my program called Afformations, the missing piece to having abundance. Now, in just a minute, I'm going to describe exactly what Afformations are, and no, we didn't misspell it. It's Afformations. For many of you, that's a new word, and I'll tell you exactly what that means. Bottom line, this program will accelerate your results so much faster and easier than anything else that you've ever tried. And the reason I can say that is because we have literally thousands and thousands and thousands of success stories, just like the one I just shared with you. So basically, what this program will answer are very specific questions. Number one is, what's causing my head trash around money? How can I stop stopping myself from the success I'm capable of? Another thing I talk about is, what activities should I start doing every day, and what activities should you stop doing? How to attract the right people to support you in doing your highest and best work. How to reach your goals twice as fast with half the effort. How to make more money doing what you love doing. So literally, this program will help you progress 2 times to up to 10 times faster towards your goals. It will help you to live an abundant lifestyle and stop working so hard for so little. It will help you to let go of the stress, the worry, and the struggle that you may be facing right now. And really, one of the most important things and exciting things that I see this program doing for people is to teach you exactly, step by step, how to dump your head trash around being happy and rich. I was just talking about the fact that, yes, it's okay to be rich. It's okay to have money, depending on your belief system. You know, that's what I teach my clients is God wants us to be wealthy, to be rich, to be abundant. Not that we take from others, but that we give to others. The only way to make money is to create value for other human beings. So it's it's like it's set up that way. So when you look on that page, that URL that Debra just gave you, you'll see everything you get. And you get my complete affirmation series, the guidebook, the videos about removing financial head trash, overcoming the fear of rejection. We have Q&A calls that people just absolutely love. These are recorded calls that people paid sometimes up to thousands of dollars to listen to these recordings and access them. You get these free with this call. You also get a special interview with my good friend Jack Canfield, who I mentioned a moment ago. He's a dear friend and mentor. And you'll hear an exclusive interview that's only been available to my platinum coaching clients. And you'll get that as well. And one of the great bonuses, Debra, that I really love about this program is you also get access to my private online mastermind, where you can meet hundreds of other like-minded people from all over the world, people who have joined the Afformations revolution. When you join, you can actually get support. There are people making joint venture deals, people starting up new businesses, getting that support so you're not alone. I know what that feels like. Sometimes it feels like you're on an island with no one to talk to, and you have that online mastermind. So this really is an incredible, unbelievable value. Actually, there's over $900 worth of my best teachings now, and for a limited time on this page, you will get that for just one payment of $97. So this is literally 90% off. Now, I will just say, I got to just say this, Debra, is that this is a limited time offer because we will be raising the price on this program very soon. I don't know when, but again, I want people to get in on this while you still can get in at this, frankly, ridiculously low price. I've had many people, actually people who bought the program say, no, you should charge more for this because this is so amazing and it's changed my life. And, you know, I already bought it, so I can tell you to change the price now. But anyway, it's just an awesome program, and I highly recommend it.
Yeah, it really is amazing because I'm looking at it while you're saying all of this, and truly one module of this program is worth, I mean, $97, it's like ridiculous. It's like a joke because it is, I mean, you could keep living in the basement or just, I believe that just one section, just being in the mastermind, just Jack's thing, any of these modules could take you out of the basement and into the life that you know that you should be living. And really, it's about time that people get unstuck, and this could do it for you. Thank you so much for offering it for $97. I know that you are raising your price, and I'm so glad that we convinced you to keep it at $97 for us. So thank you. Okay, well, I have a lot more questions, and I know we have some more time. So actually, even before you talk about affirmations, could you tell us the difference between the inner game and the outer game of success? What do you mean by that? Because I see that on your page here, too.
Absolutely. So when you look at any human endeavor, there's always an inner game component and an outer game component. Now, let me show you what I mean. So let's take a sporting analogy, a sports analogy, like, for example, the game of golf, because this is very evident in golf. So let's say you are going up to the first tee, you're going to hit your golf ball, and you're thinking really positive. You're like, I know I can do this. I feel great. You're psyching yourself up, like, yeah, I can do it. I'm going to hit that ball a mile. Yeah. And you're revving yourself up, and then all of a sudden you take a swing, and you don't know how to swing the golf club. So you've never taken a class, or maybe you've just been taught wrong or whatever, and you don't swing properly. Is the ball going to go where you want it to go? Of course not. Okay? So you're thinking really positively, that's the inner game, but your outer game is not right. Now, similarly, what about the reverse? Let's say you're a professional golfer. Let's take the real life example of professional golfers, and they've hit 10 trillion golf balls, so the outer game is basically they're all the same, really. They're all incredibly talented athletes. So why does the guy get up to the last hole on the last day, he's about to win the tournament, he's got a 6-foot putt, he's made 10 trillion of these, and he misses? Why does that happen? Well, that's an inner game issue. See, he choked. That's what's called choking, meaning his brain seized up and he choked. That's an inner game issue. So the point is, the inner game deals with inner things that we don't see on the outside, things like beliefs and values, desires, thoughts, priorities, decisions. Those are the inner game things. Those have to be in place. But you also need the outer game. The outer game deals with things like habits, lifestyle, actions, behaviors, outcomes, and results. Now, when you put those two things together, the inner game of success with the outer game of success, that's where you have getting the results that you want. Not every single time, obviously, because that's not realistic. But you have much more success than if you don't. And what happens, Debra, is that the big mistake people make is that they focus on one or the other. So you have the people who watch The Secret 37 times, and they say, oh, well, all I got to do is think about money, and money falls from the sky. Well, I hope I don't have to tell you that doesn't work, because you probably found that out by now, I'm assuming, because it doesn't work on planet Earth. On planet Earth, you have to do this annoying thing called work to get a result. Like whether it's more money or losing weight or being happy in relationships or finding the man or woman of your dreams or finding the right house, getting a new car. All of these things happen because you do something. You take action. You stretch that comfort zone like I was talking about earlier. So again, we must have a balance of the inner game and the outer game of success in order to have the result that you want.
Brilliantly said. Thank you for that, because I know there are people who teach bodies of knowledge that they lead people to believe that you could sit on the couch and drink Diet Coke and eat Cheetos and watch the soaps and visualize I am wealthy, I am wealthy, I'm wealthy, and it's going to happen. And you are so absolutely right on that it's not.
No, you're right, because, I've had the opportunity to interview 50 millionaires and multimillionaires, and not one of them does that, what you said. Not one of them, sits there and imagines money. They're out there providing value for people, and that's what I just want to, again, remind people is that if you've never heard this before, or if you've, heard the other, remember I told you right at the beginning I was going to bust a lot of success myths. This is one of the biggest and, frankly, most detrimental and hurtful ones that's been propagated out there, which is that you can just think about things and you get everything you want. Again, you do have to do both. I'm not saying the inner game is wrong or you should ignore it. Not at all. You must master it. But you also have to master the outer game And when those both come together, that's where you see great results.
Very true. I just got to tell you one little anecdote. One time I was at an event with Byron Katie, and somebody said to this point, but I know somebody who visualized they were going to be on Oprah, and then they were on Oprah. And she said, and I know about 3 million other people who visualized that they were on Oprah and they weren't on Oprah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. So then what are, right on. What are affirmations and how can we use them? Because when you hear that word affirmations, you immediately think of affirmations, which I have a sneaking suspicion you're going to say don't work.
No, it's not that affirmations don't work. I've actually never said that. I'm misquoted often in the media of having said that, but I've never said that affirmations don't work. What I have said is that oftentimes they haven't worked for many people in the way that they were taught. So that's not saying they don't work, because clearly affirmations have worked for millions of people. However, millions of others of us have been very frustrated by them. So let me solve the problem once and for all for everybody. Okay, so here's what I want you to picture. I'm going to get into this by just drawing a picture for you, okay? So I want you to picture that you're standing on the edge of a cliff. And that cliff, and you're looking over at the cliff sort of over there, and there's a gap between the two. Now, over there is where you want to go. Over here is where you are, and there's a gap in between, okay? So if you can picture that. Now, where you are standing right now is what I call your CPR. Your CPR, and that stands for your current perceived reality. Your current perceived reality. Now, what that means is that all perception is reality to the perceiver. We all live in our own little universe. And, if you don't believe me, just pretend you were watching a football game with somebody who likes the other team and you like that team, so you're not going to even watch the same football game. You will see the same sort of set of circumstances that happen, but each of you will be watching a different game because you want something different. So everybody lives in our own little world, our own little universe. That's your CPR. That's what you perceive to be the truth about you and the world. Now, over there, the cliff over there that you want to be at, that's what I call your NDR, your NDR. Now, that stands for your new desired reality. That is where I want to go. I want to be over there. I want more money. I want to write my book. I want to lose 20 pounds. I want to find the man or woman of my dreams. I want a new house. Whatever it is, that is your new desired reality. And by definition, it's over there because you don't have it yet, right? If you had it, you'd be there. But this makes sense. Now, between those two realities, there's a gap. Now, what I call that is your belief gap. That is your belief gap. In other words, what happens, Debra, when most people think of what they want? When they think, oh, I want that thing, what do you think most people do? They actually think, the next thing they say to themselves is, I probably can't get that. It's probably not for me. I don't think it'll ever happen. Right? So the default human belief is, I can't do it. I can't have it. I can't be that. Oh, I can't do that. Right? That's just what we all sort of do. Now, here's what we have done. Now, here's what we have been told in traditional success programs. In traditional success programs, we've been told that if we want to go from where we are to where we want to be, then we should use these things, this method called affirmations. Now, as we all know, an affirmation is a statement of something that you wish were true or something that you want to be true. So a classic affirmation is, I am rich. I am rich, because where I want to be is rich. That's where I want to go. I want more money. So let's just say I want to be rich. So you say, I am rich. And when you say, I am rich, what does your brain say?
You're not.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's what I call the yeah, right response. It doesn't believe you. So you're saying something to your brain, and your brain is saying back to you, yeah, I don't believe you. No, I'm not rich. I don't have any money, blah, 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 blah. Right? So you're fighting your brain. Does that make sense? You're literally fighting your own beliefs. And so what the traditional teachers told us is, well, listen, if you don't believe your affirmations, just repeat it 1,000 million billion gajillion times. And then you'll believe it someday. cough, cough, right? That's what they said. Okay. Well, remember when I told you, way at the beginning, I said, listen, I read all these books, I went to the library, and they all said the same thing. Every single book said to do that. There wasn't one that didn't. So I said, okay, well, they got to be right because that's what they told us, so it must be true. And so I did these affirmations over and over and over for decades. And I never got the result I wanted, never. Because I couldn't, and I didn't have the words back then that I'm telling you now. That's why I'm telling you that looking back in 2020 hindsight, I couldn't bridge my own belief gap. And that's what millions and millions of people are facing, the same exact thing. So what happened was something that changed my life. This happened back in 1997. It was April 1997. And I was in the shower thinking about this very point. Now, you ever have those ideas in the shower? Those aha moments, do you get those in the shower?
My favorite place to have ahas.
I know. So I say to everyone, make sure you pay attention because those can change your life. So I was thinking about this very point. And I'm saying, how come I've been using this method, doing everything exactly the way they told me, and it never has worked? So I said, what are we talking about? Well, we're talking about beliefs. Well, what is a belief? Well, a belief is a thought. Well, what is a thought? And I realized that human thought is really the process of asking and searching for answers to questions, not statements. For example, if I were to ask, why is the sky blue? Your mind automatically searches for the answer, even if you don't know the answer. So I said, wait a second. If the human mind is automatically searching for answers to questions, why are we going around making statements that we don't even believe? Why don't we cut out the middleman? And I said, well, I don't know. What would that look like? Well, let's see. You got the statement or affirmation, I am rich. And your brain says, yeah, right. So what would the question be? Why am I so rich? Why am I so rich? Now, I want everyone listening to write that down. Write that question down, what I just said. Why am I so rich? And ask yourself the question, why am I so rich? Now, Debra, I'll ask you. That's what I ask my coaching clients and mastermind students. So when you ask the question, why am I so rich? What happens in your brain?
Well, then I start thinking all of the ways that I am rich.
Exactly. You start to search for the answer. Now, we all know about the law of sowing and reaping, which is as you sow, so shall you reap. This has been taught for centuries. Now, what are we sowing? Well, we're sowing seeds of thought. But what are most people doing? Sowing lousy thought seeds. Why am I so broke? Why am I so fat? Why can't I lose weight? Why am I such a loser? Why am I so dumb? Why does so-and-so have more money than me? Why is there more months left at the end of the money? Right? You ask lousy questions, what do you get? Lousy answers, right? And that means a lousy life. So I said, wait a second, what if instead of asking lousy questions that lead to lousy answers and a lousy life, what if we flipped the whole thing on its head, started asking empowering questions that lead to phenomenal answers and creates a wonderful life? And as I was standing there in the shower, April 1997, I said, holy cow, I think I just invented something. And so I had to give it a name. And the name I gave it was the name of this program that we're talking about today, which is Afformations, Afformations, not affirmations, but Afformations. Now, so far, Debra, since my discovery in 1997, we've had the opportunity to teach over 200,000 entrepreneurs, CEOs, moms and dads, kids, business owners, athletes, chiropractors, just people from all walks of life. This amazing and amazingly simple process of Affirmations. And that's what this program is all about. And in the program that we have for you, I teach you exactly how to use these Affirmations and also give you all of the support that we just talked about. And so it's just an absolutely incredible program. Let me just share really briefly with you a story about one fellow who came to us, a student. His name was Brandon. Now, he was an insurance salesman from Salt Lake City. He had spent about $40,000 on all these different success programs, to make more money, be more successful, personal growth, etc. He was making about $1,500 a month. in commissions. Not very much. No, that's not very good. Let's be honest. That's $1,500 a month. So he was really stuck. He was struggling. So he came to us and he said, Noah, my friend told me about you. It sounds really awesome. He got this program and he started using the Affirmations. He did everything that I told him to do. He followed the formula. In less than 9 months, his income had increased by over 560%. His income increased by over 560%, and he was actually named Agent of the Year.
And can I just add one thing, and that is you said how simple it is, and if people are thinking, how could it be that simple? I saw somewhere, I believe on your website or somewhere, that there's a 13-year-old girl who cured her chronic worry and insomnia using your methods in just one night. So it can't be that difficult.
One night. No, and that's why kids love it. Yeah, absolutely. For those parents out there, your kids will love Affirmations. I'm talking 6-year-olds, 8-year-olds, 10-year-olds, teenagers. They absolutely love Affirmations. We had one, it's a real quick mom in Florida named Christy, and she was home, and her son came home who was 6 years old, and he came home, he was crying because he got a bad score on his spelling test. And he said, Mommy, why am I such a bad speller? And she said, honey, you got to turn that question around. You got to ask yourself a different question. And he said, what do you mean? And she taught him literally my Affirmations method in about 5-10 minutes. He totally got it. And he said, oh, great. That's so exciting. She wrote me the following week on his very next spelling test, he got 100. He had never scored higher than 80 before on his spelling test. So it's awesome for kids. It's awesome for adults, for business owners. We just got so many success. In fact, on that page, Debra, you'll see just some of the incredible success stories and case studies that we have. I know we don't have a lot of time left, so I just want to make sure we get that out.
So if this resonates with you, I encourage you to click on the special offer button to learn more.
What you just said right before about how we can learn this and then use it for even somebody our children as young as 6.
Absolutely.
Wow.
I mean, we have teachers who taught it to their students. Their grades have improved. Their graduation levels have gone up. They've gotten scholarships to college. I mean, we're talking at-risk students, people who other people had given up on, and the teachers started teaching us. I mean, there's just so much incredible evidence and case studies from people all over the world. So I really encourage everybody to try the program. Just try it. Try Affirmations. Yeah. If you've been using Affirmations, if you watched The Secret 37 times and haven't gotten any results, I mean, this is why. I literally walk you through exactly what's missing. And by the way, Debra, I just got to share with you real quick that one of the things that's so funny about what happened with this program as I was teaching it over the years is people kept writing me and saying, Noah, thank you for giving me the missing piece. Thank you for sharing the missing piece with me. And we heard this so often. I said, wow, I think we should call this program the missing piece to having abundance, because it is. It's like this actually came from our clients, the name. Affirmations is the name that I invented, but our clients kept saying, thank you for giving me the missing piece. That's why we call it Affirmations, the missing piece to having abundance. And when you get it, you really will. You say, oh my gosh, I can't believe no one ever told me about this before. That's what makes it so exciting.
Yeah, because I know people, as we've discussed offline, I know people who have used this system who are business people who have turned their business around, and people who have turned their relationships around, and people who have made more money than they had ever thought possible. And this new use that I'm just discovering now for our children, having children, that is so very, very exciting to me. I just never thought in that way before. So many possibilities.
So if you haven't yet, go ahead and click on the special offer button on this page, and you will see for yourself what an amazing, amazing package this is. You are absolutely going to love it. I promise you.
Okay. So I am getting the idea of how somebody like that young girl, she switched her insomnia and her worry around overnight. In terms of long-range benefits or even more short-range benefits, can you just elaborate on that, what people can expect their life to look like?
Absolutely. Basically what happens is when you start to get rid of your head trash, it's exactly like this. Let me make an analogy. So imagine that you have somewhere you want to go. You have a destination, and you want to get there. That's your goal, right? A goal is a destination. I want to be over there. whether it's making more money, growing your business, getting more clients, finishing your book, publishing your book, losing weight, finding the right person, et cetera, whatever that is, that's your goal. Okay, so let's say you're driving there in your car, and you're driving and you're feeling excited, really happy, but unbeknownst to you, you have one foot on the gas and the other foot is on the brake. You're literally got one foot on the brake, unconsciously, not on purpose, but that foot is on the brake. How long do you think it's going to take you to reach your destination?
If you
very long.
There.
Exactly, a very, very long time. And you're going to be spending a ton of time, effort, and energy to get there, and money. I mean, because, you got to keep putting the gas in the car, and, you're still not making much progress. It's very frustrating. So basically what happens is somebody comes up to you and says, hey, you know what you need? You need to put in more expensive gas. It's the gas that's the problem. Instead of the $4 a gallon, put the $6, put that rocket fuel in there. And you put that jet fuel in, and you spend your hard-earned money, and you put that in. But you get back in the car, you're doing the same thing without knowing it, and you're still not making much progress, still frustrated, same result. Somebody else comes up to you and says, hey, you know what you need? You should get a new set of tires. It's the tires that's keeping you back. That's what's your problem. And you should get these really expensive tires. So you get the top-of-the-line tires, you go to the tire store, spend a lot of money, put the tires on the car, you get back in the car, you're doing the same behaviors, same result. Finally, someone comes up to you and says, you know what? You should get a new car. That car isn't good enough. You get this really expensive Italian sports car. That's what will get you there faster. And you trade in your car that you really like, and instead you get this, really high-priced Italian sports car, and spend a ton of money. But you get back in the car, and you're doing the same thing without knowing it. What's going to happen? The exact same result. So what I do, Debra, is I come up to people and I go, did you know you have your foot on the brake? And you're like, no. And I say, do you know you could get your foot off the brake with just doing a couple very simple, easy, doable things that, a 6-year-old can do and a 13-year-old or anybody can do from any walk of life? And you're like, really? I'm like, yeah, it's actually very simple. It's very straightforward. We've done this hundreds of thousands of times with so many people around the planet. And there's no question that if you follow the steps, you'll get your foot off the brake and reach your goals much faster and easier. Oh, okay. So you see my point? That's what's so frustrating is people have been spending their hard-earned money on all this gas and tires and even a new car, and they're not getting the results that they wanted. Just to make this very clear, I had one client who came to me named Jim. He spent over $100,000 on all these different success programs, money-making programs, and websites and all this stuff, and he wasn't making any money. I came to him and I said, Jim, I know you're not doing this on purpose, but you realize you have your foot on the brake. And he's like, yes, that's why I came to you, but I don't know how to get it off. I said, well, you follow the formula, follow the steps. In less than 30 days, his websites were up, making money for the very first time after he spent all that money. And so what's so nice about this program, Debra, is you don't have to spend a lot of money.
Yeah, $97, really.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I mean, seriously. And besides $97, there's even a money-back guarantee.
Yeah, of course. We have it. Look, I've been doing this since 1997. We fully guarantee all of our work. We have the best customer service in the industry, and we pride ourselves on that. When you join us, when you join my company, which is called Success Clinic International, you're part of the family. We take care of you like family. We get very, very few refunds, Debra, as you can imagine. But of course, the guarantee is there. So people feel good. They feel good about their purchase.
Yeah, I'm sure that you get very, very few. I just can't even imagine. But all I could say is, you've given us so much just in this 1 hour. I just can't even imagine what is in store for people when they take advantage of this. Really and truly, it's just fantastic. I'm going to give the URL one more time, and that's yourlifewithoutlimits.com/Noah, Noah. And Noah, before we sign off, I just want to ask you, do you have any final thoughts that you'd like to share with everyone?
Yeah, absolutely. What I really encourage everybody to do is whatever you have to do, get your foot off the brake. I don't want anybody to spend any more of their hard-earned money on new tires or more expensive gas or even a new car, which I know a lot of people have been trying to convince you to do. You don't need to do it. All of the answers are within you. You just need the key. And literally, you need that missing piece. When I discovered Affirmations, when I started teaching it, I was just so shocked that no one had ever discovered it before because it was so simple, it's so obvious, and yet no one had ever done it before. So I'm just thrilled. I feel privileged and honored, and to see so many amazing success stories. And I'd love to be part of your success story for everybody listening. Please feel free to contact me when you join the Mastermind. I'm there all the time. It's like getting an open invitation to ask me any questions or any challenges. I mean, people, again, to be frank, they spend a lot of money to get coaching from me. So this really is an amazing deal. And again, just to be clear, it won't be around forever. So if you're thinking about this, if you want to get to that new place, that new desired result, if you want to bridge your belief gap, this is the time to do it, because you deserve to get unstuck now.
Well, Noah, thank you so much for being with us today, and we are all truly grateful that you took that shower in 1997.
Me too.
And how much that one shower has contributed to the world. And I know we have a good laugh about that, but it's actually true what one idea can do to impact the world. It's just beyond fantastic. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
And thank you to everyone for spending this time with me and with Noah St. John. And I look forward to speaking with Noah again on Your Life Without Limits. And I look forward to all of you utilizing what Noah has to offer to live your life without limits. Have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.